Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm doing a review on the Lucky Khaki Russian-made boxing gloves. So check it out. Hey guys, Carlo here. Today I'm doing a review on the Lucky Khaki Russian-made custom boxing gloves. I got mine in this beautiful all-white colorway with this custom C-squared boxing leather patch on the back of the wrist support. 14 ounces and lace up. This is a completely custom glove. So if you were to order your own pair, you pick the specs that you want the gloves to. Obviously the dye or the color of the leather you want to go with, the type of closure, whether it's lace up or Velcro, and then the size of the glove that you want to have. Now, Lucky Khaki is a one-man show. It is founded by a gentleman named Kasonov. Hopefully I did not mispronounce his name, in Russia. And there's some information behind his business, and I wanted to share this with you guys. I thought it was really important that you guys kind of know the background behind Lucky Khaki. And basically his business is ran through like his Instagram and his Facebook, so through his social media channels. He does not have a website that I know of, so if you are interested in getting your own pair of these, you do have to reach out to him through social media. There is a little bit of a language barrier because he does speak Russian. However, he does also use Translate, so if you need to translate to whatever language you speak in, if it's English, then he can do that as well. So there is a little bit of a language barrier, but not to the point to where you guys can't communicate each other's needs or what he needs from you in terms of what you want for a boxing glove. So do keep that in mind if you're interested in ordering gloves from him. So behind the company itself, this is a little background on my boxing gloves. I was born and lived in Russia in the city of Kirovgrad. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. The city is the birthplace of Soviet copper. And I have a request to mention this. So he wanted to make sure I mention this in my review, which I am. For 10 years, I have been making equipment, backpacks, weapon cases, and leather goods. About half a year ago, he saw my review on the Barrick boxing gloves. I did a review on the Barrick gloves. Rich, who is the founder and the sole person that makes the Barrick boxing gloves, I've done a review. He actually did some custom gloves with the C-squared boxing logo on them a year and a half ago. So he saw that, and that kind of inspired him to get into the glove making business himself. Was through the Barrick and kind of doing his own custom boxing gloves. Since he's already a leather artisan, then it kind of was like the next step. It only really made sense to kind of get into boxing gloves. The brand name Lucky Khaki actually comes from his name, abbreviated down to Kasonov Kirill, is short for my first and last name. So that's where he came up with Khaki. So the Khaki is his first and his last name combined. According to the materials used, he uses natural goat, cow, buffalo leather. It can also be made from kangaroo leather if you wanted to. Leather thickness between 1 millimeter to 1.8 millimeters, depending on the batch of leather. And the filler is horsehair on the inside of the glove. He mastered the technology with foam fillers, and he's looking at using different types of foams as well as Thai latex on some of his future gloves. So the glove I have here is kind of one of his first iterations of his boxing gloves, and I'm sure over time he's going to start to evolve, and you'll start to see even better products coming from Lucky Khaki. And so that's pretty much what he's insinuating with what he is saying. So he's really just happy to be able to produce products not only for people in Russia, but for everybody worldwide to be able to enjoy his products. He loves boxing. From 2004 to 2014, he participated in amateur competition for his university, Ural State Mining University, and he continues to train to this day. So he's in shape. He's part of the boxing community, and it's awesome that he has this. He also wanted to give a big shout out to a couple of his friends, and again, hopefully I pronounced the names correctly: Vataga, Kuza, Misha Agafanov, Pensioner, and Alyoshenka. And he wanted to say hey. He wanted to say hi to his friends, and hopefully they're watching this video and are really proud of him. So that's kind of the history behind the Lucky Khaki gloves. I thought it was really important for me to share that with you guys as well. Obviously, Kasana wanted that to be shared with you guys. But when I first saw these gloves, there's actually a follower of mine on Instagram that DM'd me and said, hey, have you seen these gloves? And I'm usually pretty on top of all the new gloves, the new releases with the well-known companies that are established already, Everlast, Rival, you know. And then there's a lot of these newer companies that nobody's ever heard of, like Lucky Khaki. So, you know, thank you to them for putting me on to Lucky Khaki. So I reached out to them, and we were able to make this happen and get these gloves over to me right now. These gloves are about, I want to say 200,000. Let me see what the price on these are again. 20,000 rubles. So 20,000 rubles, if you were to convert it to US dollars, is about $200, $200 to $206, depending on the strength of the currency. Delivery here is anywhere between 5,000 to 8,000 rubles, which is about $50 to $80 US dollars. So you're looking at about $200 to, you know, if you're talking about shipped, anywhere between $250 to $280 for a glove like this to be shipped to here in the United States, and getting this glove to your doorstep. So that's kind of the general pricing. Obviously, if you're going to purchase these gloves, he'll give you a quote on how much it's going to cost, because you might have special, you know, or special requests when you order these gloves, which will kind of vary the price. So looking at the glove from a design standpoint for a 14-ounce glove, this is definitely more on the compact side, and this definitely reminds me, I know I mentioned Barrick earlier, this definitely reminds me of that old school vintage boxing glove, very much like Barrick. And even with the leather itself, the leather is very, very thick. This is the type of leather you don't find in other mass-produced leg gloves from Pakistan. Really no other gloves I've seen, even from like Mexico. It does have that very rugged, thick feel, you know, vintage feel that you would expect from this type of glove. Very high quality leather. Almost reminds me of the leather again from Barrick, as well as from some of the Mexican made gloves that are very thick and just feel like they're built to last for years and years of training. So I definitely love the quality of leather and how it feels on here. And you know, from a design standpoint, it's a very simple looking glove. There's no logos on here. The only thing that has really a logo is going to be the back leather patch, and that's a full piece of leather that's cut out. That's a nice thick piece of leather that's cut out, and then you can see that it's actually stitched into the back of the wrist support. It says especially for C-squared boxing with Lucky Khaki down there, and that's all imprinted in there. The back of the wrist support has a firm density foam padding about 1 inch on the back. It also have this metallic silver piping that looks really good. Coming over to the palm side, you're looking at about an inch thickness of medium density. It also almost feels like horsehair as well. It feels like the same padding that they use in the strike surface for the wrist support. That comes up to right about here, as well as on this side. The inside liner is kind of a rough canvas liner on the inside. You also have nice long flat laces. They're kind of elasticy too. They have a little bit of a stretch to them. They feel better quality than your standard shoelaces. And I do like the fact that they have a little bit of flexibility to the laces. Plastic tips at the end. You do have the silver piping that comes up all the way through the palm side. No ventilated holes. You do have a leather attached thumb, as well as welted seams throughout the entire glove. So you can see the welted seams all throughout. You have that attached thumb pocket that leather piece stitches into, and a really nice large grip bar that has a good feel to it. Nice and firm. You can definitely feel that bar on the inside there. And there you have it. Just a beautiful looking glove. I'd say that the leather on here has a satin finish to it, a satin texture. It's not matte and it's not super glossy. It's kind of right there in the middle. Quality wise, these gloves, to me, the highlight is going to be the leather. I feel like the leather on here is amazing, great quality leather. The stitching is pretty good. I feel like the stitching can definitely be improved, and I think that's just gonna be, again, this is, you know, Kasanov is a one-man show. He's doing this by himself. You know, overall, it's really solid. You can see, you know, where the grip bar is at. Obviously, the welted seams look really good. There's a little bit of a nick right there that must have happened maybe when he was putting the glove together, and maybe like a blade or something kind of nicked into that. But other than that, you can see the stitching looks good right there where the thumb meets the index finger. The leather itself looks great. You know, the outside edges of the welted seams look good. The back of the wrist support looks clean. The silver piping looks good as well. When I put these gloves on the scale, these are advertised as being 14 ounces. So you also have that 14-ounce tag. That's made of leather as well. So just another feature I wanted to show you guys. Everything feels really durable. And that's a nice thick piece of leather, 14 ounces. But the gloves weighed in at 14.2 2 ounces. So pretty much exactly on point with weight. The liner, again, is not bad. You can see a little bit of glue marking right here at the bottom where the piping is at. You know, just a little excess glue, nothing too crazy there. The big issue here, which is both kind of a quality / comfort issue, is that this glove is horsehair. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, but there's no barrier in this liner to prevent the horsehair from poking through this canvas liner. And what happens is there's like little pieces of horsehair that are poking through, and it really makes my hands itch, which is unfortunate because it's such a nice glove, very sturdy, but you can definitely feel if you push down with your fingers into this kind of like this rough mesh liner, is that there's like little pieces of horsehair that are just sticking through. The good news is that it's horsehair, is exactly what it's advertised as, what it's filled with. The bad news is that I feel like he should have put a liner or a barrier or something in there to protect the inside liner and not allow any of the horsehair to poke through the liner. So to me, that's going to be a kind of a comfort and a quality issue with the inner liner, not allowing any of the horsehair to bleed through the liner. To me, that's kind of the big issue there. But other than that, very nice glove. Comfort-wise, sliding your hand into the glove. The ergonomics, to me, definitely need a little bit of improvement. You know, these old school gloves, I feel like when they made these, they don't really put a lot of emphasis on like hand ergonomics and positioning like some of these newer glove companies do, like Rival, like their Guerrero gloves, or even the Phenom gloves where you put your hands in and your hands fit perfect in them. You know, the thumb on this glove is a little bit on the short side. This piping right here is a bit tight, so it just kind of flares your thumb out, and this thumb is really tight around here. So I feel like this thumb needs to be pulled in, and on top of that, it's shallow. So kind of lengthening that thumb, making this piping a little bit larger to accommodate your thumb so it doesn't just pinch down. And then the finger compartment is too shallow. And not only is it too shallow, but it's too narrow right here. Like there's not enough room for all my fingers to fit in here. My pinky is kind of like up here because there's just not enough room on the inside, and this pocket is too compact. So I can't even really sink my fingers all the way in to really get a nice tight grip because of how shallow it is and how narrow this finger compartment is. So I feel like it should be both wider and deeper, and then you would just get a much more tight fitting feel and being able to really roll your hand up to make a nice tight fist, and you just don't get that, unfortunately. And I feel, again, that's going to be something that he can improve over time with that width and that depth. And then obviously the thumb, and then the liner, again, you can just feel that horsehair kind of bleeding into the liner, and it's kind of itching the back of my hand. Granted, you'll have hand wraps on, or you should have hand wraps on, but even then I can still kind of feel it. You know, the wrist support feels really good. It's just like the little creature comforts with this glove, and you have a little bit of a piece of liner that goes over the stitching, which is nice, but again, it's just not deep enough or wide enough to accommodate my hands. And even for a 14-ounce glove, I have medium-sized hands, and these just feel way too tight and uncomfortable. Protection and performance, this is a horsehair glove. So you can see there, I'm not putting too much force onto that strike surface, and you can just see how flat that is. It pretty much conforms to really, I call it like the shapeshifter. It conforms to really any shape you want. And you can actually see just that texture is really bumpy. And again, that's from that horsehair that they pack in there. So excellent for feedback. If you're somebody that loves that crack, that feedback, that feel, that really flat punch surface, and that connected feeling, you'll definitely get it with this glove. I mean, you can really feel, oh man, that feels great. I personally love it. I love horsehair gloves. I love that. And it just feels amazing landing with it. So you get excellent pop. Protection wise, probably not the best for shock absorption. If somebody has sore knuckles and have a hand injury, these probably won't help that. But if you're insistent on getting gloves like this, then probably supplement with like a gel pad or a knuckle guard to give you that protection. So I'd say definitely more on the puncher side when it comes to the protection and performance. Excellent pop, excellent feedback, great on the mitts, great on the heavy bag. You're just sacrificing a little bit of that shock absorption for that pop and that feedback and that excellent punch surface, which is to me one of the biggest highlights, aside from the quality of the leather with this glove. Cost-wise, I just discussed that earlier. You know, these gloves are right around the $200 to $210 range. You know, I feel like the gloves are worth it just for the simple fact that they're pretty much their custom one-off type gloves, you know, from a small business. And I always like to support the smaller businesses. And you're getting, I mean, the leather quality in here is phenomenal. I love that it's just that one person show that's making the gloves. The bad part is just the comfort of the glove. You know, I feel like there can be some improvements. So maybe if you're looking at getting these, I would maybe mention like, hey, I really want to buy these gloves, but can you make sure that the finger compartment's deeper and wider? And hopefully he takes that feedback and says, okay, I'll do that for you. I mean, he's gonna make the gloves from scratch anyway, so you might as well just tell him that. Then for sure, for $200, 100%, to me the gloves are worth it. Would I get these again, knowing what I know now? I probably would, just because again, I don't have anything like this, and it just feels like almost like a timepiece, like very vintage feeling. Like, I love the way it feels, I love the leather. I love the customization, the simplicity of it. So yeah, I would do it again, especially at that price point. I just feel like he just needs to tweak the gloves just a little bit to really get it perfect. And he would definitely have a winner. So if you guys have any questions, you know what to do, put them down below. I'll put the link in the description box, or you can find these lucky khaki Russian made boxing gloves. See you guys later. Peace.